This is Taiza.
And this is Lissa.
And we are on class 2 of our Owning Your Own Power series. This is exciting. So strange. We've been in, how long have we been working on this stuff, would you say, in gestation? I would say we started in October. That's when
Probably, yeah.
October. So it's been a while.
9 months.
Yeah,
Funny.
well,
It's like having a baby.
It is like having a baby.
Funny.
Screaming.
Funny how that
crying.
works.
Yeah, so we both have these thoughts and we both want to share these things with the world, and we, both of us joke about being cloistered. Never wanting to get out and be seen in the world. Work secretively and nobody will know. It's a secret. And so we're out. We're outing ourselves. Secret is over. We're here.
It is. Secret's over for everyone.
Right?
Yep.
Oh, shit.
It is.
The odd thing is that you probably don't think it's a big deal, but for us it's a big deal to be here.
Mm-hmm.
And so today we are going to talk about, in our last class, actually, let's just do a recap. See, I was going to go in and then I'm going backwards. I'm totally, So,
go ahead.
Last class we talked about opening the umbrella, bringing things in, considering the possibilities, because we are so trained to think in little tiny boxes, like even outside the box is like in somebody else's box, in a not dirty way. So this time we're going to talk about energetic integrity, and we want you to imagine the possibilities, so keep that umbrella open. Whoop whoop. Look, I'm going left, but I'm going right. So the first thing I want to do is speak to people with healing gifts who are clairvoyant, clairsentient, clair something, or empathic. There's a lot of empaths on the planet right now. The world is full, not full, but there's a lot of empaths. Maybe you see auras, like just the different gifts you may have. What are some of your gifts that you want to share in our non-secret world?
I'm a mom. I have eyes in the back of my head. No, I don't know.
She makes a killer roast beef. That's one of her secrets.
Yeah. I hear things. I don't know. I know I have gifts, but I don't know if I can label them. I know things. Is that claircognizance? It's not necessarily a voice talking in my head. It's not like I see inner images. It's not like I can see auras, but I can see inner images. Things are my inner world is very strong. Which could have me labeled as a crazy lady. Like
we're
a
all a little
crazy. How about you? What are your gifts?
I like to keep secret.
That's why you asked me first.
Yeah, I get impressions of things. Sometimes I get little glimpses of future possibilities, and I don't know if they're possibilities or if it's just, it's like in Lord of the Rings when he's looking in the sky. He's with Gladriel, the Hobbit guy with furry feet. He's looking in the dish with the water and the elf people, and he's like looking in there, and it's things to come, things that may be, things that have been. Who knows? So I see things, but I don't know what's real and what's not. It's a little confusing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now we just have to figure out what to do with that.
Well, a lot of people with gifts, I've noticed this thing with healers where they're so ready to be martyrs and take on things for other people. Have you noticed that? I've done it. I've done it so well that I could write a book on it, actually. The idea, so it's kind of this interesting progression, I would say, that my life took, where I was good at the empath in me. Yeah, I just assume everyone's an empath because I was so empathic as a child, and I would take things on. So when my family was struggling and there was discord, I just innately wanted to give them healing light and healing love. And somehow when my family got broke in my mind, like as a child, I saw my family's life as broken, and I thought I did something wrong, and I felt inadequate and I started collecting this closet full of inadequacy. So some people have a closet full of shoes, a closet full of hats, a closet full of scarves. If you do, I envy you. I want a closet full of scarves. Anyhow, I have a closet full of apathy and empathic breakdown, which is the apathy is in response to feeling like I couldn't help, even though I had a gift that was supposed to be able to help. People still hurt. People I loved were still suffering, even when I tried to take on their suffering and help heal them. And I don't know where I got the idea that that was a good idea, because I can't fix anybody else. I'm still working on me. That's a full-time job. So one of the things I wanted to talk about is when you're a healer, taking on other people's things. I've noticed with some of my what's the one where you say your clear seeing skills? I'm so bad at the vocabulary. So
clear seeing.
Yeah, clear seeing. So clairvoyant. That one's clairvoyant. Yes, I passed the vocabulary test. And if I'm wrong, that's hilarious. Anyway, I have a friend that's very clairvoyant. She sees a lot of things, and she feels responsible for them. Just because you see something, just because you can empath something, just because you can see somebody's life falling to pieces, it's so easy to make the assumption that because you have this sense that you're responsible for it, that you're supposed to do something, that your love, your energy, your healing. And I'm not saying that you're not supposed to do something. So if you're already getting triggered about that, you can go ahead and do that. That's fine. I'm empathing through this YouTube video that you're upset with what I'm saying, and that's okay. You're fine. Be where you are. It's perfect, because I want to talk you out through the other side of that. This is a story of my life, so it's not like I'm just here. She's been here, and we've been here, and experimenting and experience through our own trajectories and through our own foibles. So, this is the workshop of our life, and so what we're bringing to you, we had some first-hand knowledge of, just a little, for us. And, I think we all do. I think it's part of the human condition. Shakespeare exploited these very things in his work. Who was the guy that Hamlet?
Oh, damn blood.
Yeah, so Hamlet had an idea, he was seeing something, ghosts. He saw his dad's ghost. So he thought that his uncle, killed his dad so he could marry his mom or some weird thing like that. I forget, I have a hard enough time keeping track of my own drama, so sorry if I'm spoiling Shakespeare, but he saw ghosts and was worried, and he felt responsible. He felt responsible for avenging his father's death. It was just an immediate, spark that, oh, I can see this. This is how it might be. There may be truth. I need to find out if it's true. I'm responsible for making sure that this outcome's taken care of. And it's that responsibility piece. Just because you see something...
Didn't end well for the Hamlet family, did it?
No, it didn't.
No.
Ophelia, I think she was in that one.
Yes.
Yeah, it didn't end well for her either.
Yeah, it's kind of a mess.
Yeah, it was a big mess. It started out as a mess, though.
It did.
If you're in a tragedy by Shakespeare, it's not going to end well, ever. But you don't have to be a tragedy. Just because you see something.
Or a drama.
You could be. You could also be comedy of errors.
Comedy of errors.
Yeah, so just because you see something doesn't make you responsible for it. That's the first rule of energetic integrity, is knowing that the world is bigger than you, and each person has their own beingness. So they get to choose, and they come into this body, into this life, to learn something. And if they're falling apart at the seams because they're learning it, it's not your job to take their soul lesson away. So if I'm struggling with something and you're watching me fall apart to pieces, and I chose that to learn that, how dare you think you can take me away from what I came here to learn? That's why I'm here. So that's something to keep in mind as you're watching your friends flounder all over the place. That might be part of their incarnation, their incarnation life lesson, right? Yeah. It's important you let them have those lessons. Not to say that you're not going to help. We are going to keep talking about this, but I just want to bring this to your attention to see if you're assuming other people's energy, other people's problems, just because you can be aware of them through gifts. Even if you just see with your eyes or you hear someone crying, it's human nature to want to ease pain because we're compassionate people. Most of us have that empathic, that desire to comfort, whatever that's called, is really important to a human. Like if a human hears a baby crying, most humans' first reaction is they want to comfort the baby. And so that's a natural reaction. But there's a difference between offering comfort and aid and taking on other people's problems, taking on other people's gifts, or using your gifts to take on other people's stuff. I feel like I've been talking, and I want to hear you say something.
Well, just a reminder, first of all, to keep your umbrella open during this conversation.
Right.
because this is some kind of nitty-gritty for some people, you know, talking about whether we've been doing it right or whether we've been doing it wrong, or what's in integrity or not in integrity, and just really keeping in mind that we're all doing the best we can. We all have our best intentions to be helpful to everybody, and that we're coming to a time now, in this time and in this place, of understanding new ways of doing things. Old structures are passing away. You know, the old structures of church, where you go see a man in a box and tell him everything you did wrong, and he says you're forgiven. Go say some prayers and you're all set. That's kind of, it's wrapping up for a lot of people. I know a lot of people who just don't. There are still people who find great comfort in church and ritual and things, and there are a great many, especially the younger generations, who have walked away from all of that. And so there's kind of a void right now that we're hoping to fill with these conversations of what's a new way of looking at things, and that's why we're here. So
I just have to notice, as you're speaking, the light's coming in, and it's like, this is not planned. We're just using the lighting that's coming through the window, and we're not going to change it. But I loved, it was like half your face was just illuminated. It was this half.
Illuminated.
The side of everything's backwards. I love it. It's confusing me.
Kind of like life right now.
Yeah, life is very confusing. There's a lot of chaos.
Chaos and confusion.
And so that reminded me, I was telling you about the closet full of inadequacy that I have, right? Or had. It's a process. I've been working on composting it, and I'm so excited because the next class is going to be the composting, and you do not want to miss it. It's going to be killer. Is that pretty good? She's from Boston, so.
Kind of.
Yeah. Kind of. Well, it's Boston to me.
Close enough.
Peabody.
So,
the closet full of inadequacy. It's my worthlessness. It's feeling less than, feeling like I have no value, feeling like I'm mooching by existing on this planet. There is such a treasure trove of misaligned thoughts about my worthlessness in that. We could go through the inventory and go through that'd be the whole thing. It'd be fascinatingly boring. So I'm just going to skip that for now, but I'm just going to tell you because I think we all have this. I think that over generations of thousands of years and but compressing the idea of not being good enough, not being directly connected to source, not being the idea of original sin, all of those things where we're less than, it triggers something deep inside our bodies and deep inside our psychology, and it's in our collective unconscious, and it's on TV, and it's in beauty ads, and it's everywhere, social media. So this idea of not being good enough, and when you're a healer, one of the ways that you can feel good, like get a rush of feel good, like I am a good person, is you can rush in to save somebody, loan them your power, they get better, and then you feel like you did a good thing. And you did do a good thing because your intentions were good. But not everybody needs to be saved. In fact, nobody can really save somebody else. Well, that's a fallacy, but the umbrella, I just want you to consider it. Just consider that you can't save anybody but yourself.
We've all been trained by these old structures that we need somebody outside of ourselves, somebody older, wiser, trained, somebody who was born with certain skills. You know, you're born to be an epic mind reader, or or that you've been anointed by people in special organizations to be able to hear people's sins and save them, or we all have this. We've been trained, whether we've been literally trained. Our society, the people in our society, have been trained to feel like they need to go outside of themselves for the healing that they need, for the help that they need. So we're having a conversation here about bringing everybody into alignment in their own personal self.
Yeah, because you cannot own something you're not willing to claim. I mean, think about that for a second. You cannot own something if you're not willing to claim it. A claim is a beginning. It's a vestige to fill out to see if something's truly yours. So if you have a power and you're not fully claiming it, and you're claiming something else from somebody else, your power is going to be misconstrued. It's going to be chaotic. It's going to feel weird. And so if you have a closet of worthlessness and inadequacy, even if you don't tell anyone else, but you know it's there, that's going to be playing a role in your relationships when you feel like you can save somebody from themselves, but you can't save yourself from yourself. And ultimately, what you need to realize is that you need to save yourself from yourself, or save yourself with yourself, or whatever preposition feels good for you to use. Like, save and self need to cohabitate for you. And then when you come from a place where you are aligned, you can actually offer space for other people without having an ulterior motive, where you can actually witness. And when you can realize that you're not inadequate, that you're always adequate, that you came into your body perfect, your body is perfect, you are perfect, you are an expression of the divine. We're all expressions of divine. We all have divinity within us, and not from a place of ego, like, I'm so divine. It's just who we are. It's how we came into this world. My cheek is itching, and you know what? I was divine before and after, and I'll be divine tomorrow. And it seems there's a part of me when I hear that, I'm like, oh, how dare I assume that? How dare I assume people are going to make fun of me? I'm going to be out there. This is going to not be secret. But if I were in that place, and Lissa, who's my good friend, wants to come in and save me, we're both just going to be in a big muddled mess together. Once I realize that I'm worthwhile and I'm adequate, and it's a process, it's a growth process, it's not something that you just do. But once that's done, then I can be a full, complete human being, because I can claim all of me, and I can own all of who I am, and then I can look at Lissa and say, hi, hey, I'm full and complete. How are you?
You know what? I'm full and complete as well.
Wow, I really like you, and I really like me, and we are full, complete people.
We can hang out and do fun things and not have to complete each other, because I'm full and complete, and you're full and complete.
That's so fun. And what if I want to have a meltdown? Listen, my life is so horrible. Nobody likes me, and I'm never going to accomplish anything.
I can stand here and pat your back while you have a meltdown, and I can remember as I remember my wholeness and my completeness, eventually you'll remember your wholeness and your completeness too. Right,
because I am an empath, and if she's holding it open for her, maybe I'll get that too. And on top of that, her seeing me and witnessing me without being attached, her not having to rush in and save me, creates a space where I can feel seen, and I can feel heard, and I can feel loved. And that actually allows the energy to move through, so it's not stuck. Energy wants to move. It's what it does. Energy moves. It doesn't want to be inert. It doesn't want to hang out and be like this. Nothing wants to get stored in my closet of inadequacy. No, it wants to move. And so having a full, complete person witness you, so if you have a meltdown and I use my empath skills,
I'm just having a bad day. You won't believe what just happened. I just hate when that happens. I hate when I do that to myself. This is just making me crazy.
I can feel what she's saying. And I don't have to prove to her she's not having crazy. I see that you are having a really difficult time, and that crazy may be true for you right now. And I feel all of these different pieces of what you are being, and I still see your whole, complete perfection.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Sometimes we do have bad days.
Or
every day in paradise here on earth is not perfect.
Well, we live
we
live in a world of contrast.
Yes.
So if there's good days, there's gonna be bad days.
Eventually, I'm hoping eventually they'll start smoothing out. Do you think? You think we'll get there? That's the theory. That's the theory that'll start balancing.
Well, I think that you have your good moments and your bad moments. Everything's a spectrum. I really like the idea of spectrums because the presence of something doesn't fully negate the presence of the other. It's like, oh, I'm happy. I can be happy and sad, and sometimes that feeling of something really heartwarming, but so heartwarming that it fills me with nostalgia. That's a sadness, like a bittersweet feeling. Both those things are happening simultaneously. One I really want, the other is not as preferable to my system, but they're happening together congruently. And guess what?
What?
I'm a full, complete human being. So that can happen.
Yes.
Bad and good go together, and sometimes they're simultaneous.
Mm-hmm.
So I just want you to look at your life and see where you might be with the umbrella of possibility, that not from a place of judgment, just exploration. Are you taking on other people's things? Are you trying to solve other people's problems? Are you playing some strange kind of problem exchange with your friends that you think you're bonding, but you're keeping each other disempowered with your gifts? I think it's really common. And I don't think it's everywhere, and I don't think it's a spectrum as well. It's present and not present in varying degrees. But as someone who wants to own your power, you've got to look at where you're giving your power away in unhealthy ways so that you can reclaim it. Because when you reclaim it, you can create something new, and that's the fun part. So now that we got through the kind of like gritty, the reason that you want to do this is because you are full and complete, and you have a direct connection to source. You could literally take something out of your head, your aura, your energy line, whatever you want to call it, and run it straight up, and one straight down into Mother Nature, Mother Earth, whatever you want to call her, Gaia. She just imagine her heart in the center of her big circle oval self, and shoot that straight down. You can plug yourself in direct source above, direct source below, and then you're running a current, just like if you're doing something with batteries and wires. Your computer's dying, you plug it in, runs a current from the electrical place wherever they make the electricity, whether it's hydropower, the source of the power, nuclear power, who knows where it comes from, the electric company, and it runs through your computer and it charges it. So you are a direct connection to source. You don't have to plug into other people for your source.
Yeah.
You can plug directly in. And if everybody is plugged in directly and then they relate to each other, it creates this like a grid of happiness. Instead of if people are just plugging into other people or plugging into institutions. Because here's the weird thing about plugging into something to save you, you're giving your power away. When you expect something to save you from yourself, whether that yourself is something that is you or something that a story you inherited, a myth that came along, when you expect someone to save you from yourself, you're giving your power away. It's a problem if you want to be empowered. If you want to own your power, you can't give it away to something or somebody else to save you. And if you're giving your power away to save someone else, you're not really going to succeed because they can't run on your power supply. So you have to be directly connected to source. Otherwise, what happens is you get a bunch of plugs. I was just looking to see if there's plugs down there. Her plugs are all in good order. Everything's plugged directly in. It's not going sideways. You know, like the Christmas tree. When you have like 50 Christmas light strands and they're all plugged into each other, and it's a fire hazard.
It's plugged in the back of each one.
Yeah, one on top of each other. They're stacked like Legos, and they're plugged in, and then you get a Christmas tree and it gets dried out because of all the heat. It's a fire hazard. It's the same thing. If you have a bunch of friends and you can create very sideways energy, like you're not getting direct source into it, things can go very sideways. And by sideways, I mean that the best of intentions, the happiest of desires, like whatever you want to call it, they go, like it just gets volatile and then just kind of topples over. And you may have a relationship that's really, really good, and then you plug into each other and it just goes haywire, and you just lose something that you care about. So as you become empowered, it's important to know that you are directly connected to source, both directions, into Mother Nature, Mother Earth, and into the heavens, whatever you want to call that. So one of the things I wanted to talk about with that as well is that If you do have a closet of inadequacy and you're ignoring it, and you're a big fan of the law of attraction, as most of us are, the universe responds to everything. And guess what? Yay. Your closet of inadequacy is totally bringing you more, even if you ignore it. If you pretend it's not there, if you're doing some type of spiritual bypass, the universe does not honor your spiritual bypass. I love that, by the way. It's by Teal Swan. If you don't know what I'm talking about, you need to look on YouTube for spiritual bypass. Because it's something I think we all do to different degrees, depending on the spectrum, you know. Some presents, lots of presents. But we all do some kind of spiritual bypass or some type of bypassing. And just to go into a little... Actually, can you explain it? Would you like to talk about that? I feel like I'm talking.
I haven't watched the entire video yet. You have, but it's Teal Swan.
Yeah, Teal Swan.
Tealswan.
Yeah, she's great.
Mm-hmm.
The idea is that you try to spirituality your way through something. So you're having a tough time in life, so you lose your job, or you're not making ends meet. Your mortgage is behind, and your car is dead, and maybe it's even stuck 100 miles from where you live, and you can't get it out of the shop. Mm-hmm. That's a shitty situation. Like, that's just shitty. And if you want to love and light your way out of that and pretend it's not happening, and just be like, oh, it's just an opportunity for spiritual growth, to see how grateful I can be for everything. I am a good person, and I'm just being tried. You know,
I got stuck in this town so that I could pray for them.
Right? Right? My spirit is so high and mighty that I am here to bring my divine presence to this godforsaken place. Yeah, that may be true. It may be that may be untrue, maybe. Mm-hmm. It could be the fact that I've got a closet of inadequacy in the back. Yeah, the universe sees it all. It's not just my happy little thoughts parading through my head. What you focus on, you get more of. That's part of the law of allowing, or part of the law of attraction. But there's this other part of the law of attraction that people bypass, and it's the law of allowing. And first off, you've got to allow other people to do what they're going to do. It's not your place to put your expectations and demands on other people. You're responsible for you, and you, and you, yourself. Mm-hmm. You're not responsible for everybody else's stuff. Mm-hmm. So you need to allow other people to be and have the experiences that they're going to have as they choose to have. It's not your prerogative to direct other people's experiences. It's your prerogative to direct your own experience. And it's something I've really learned in my own life. I have no ability to direct how other people live their lives. And as I've tried, I've come to the conclusion that I don't want to. I don't want to be responsible for other people's responsibilities. Why would I? Why would I assume that from somebody? They're perfectly capable of doing it on their own or not doing it on their own. It's their choice. That's the law of allowing, and it is a big part of the law of attraction. Allowing also has to do with your own life, and allowing what is in your life, in the trueness of what it is, to be present. So the shadow side of things, the things you don't want to look at, my closet of inadequacy, maybe you could have a closet of hate, a closet of insecurity. What do you have a closet of? Anything you want to share?
That was a very quick question. I don't have.
We'll come back to it. You know what else? A closet of secrets you don't want to share with people because you don't want to be seen. That was something we mentioned earlier. So
yeah, I don't have my closet top of mind right now.
It could even be a closet full of love. Like maybe you just want to withhold love because you've been hurt so much. So.
Wow.
Yeah, right? Like that could be shadow. People don't realize that shadow can be things like being empowered, being bright, being brilliant, bringing happiness to the world, artistic expression, being fully realized. Those are shadow aspects for most people.
Yeah, I keep myself in a closet.
Yeah.
I'm very cloistered. I do. I do. Keep myself hidden away.
So, there you go. So if you want the law of attraction to work, you have to be willing to also consider what you keep in your closet.
All of myself.
Right?
Yeah.
All of yourself.
And which is why this is big, making these videos.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, shunning parts of yourself and the total truth is not going to go well with the law of allowing, because the universe sees the full truth and it's objective. It doesn't care about your interpretations of your experience. Whatever vibrations you're putting out, the universe is going to allow more of those to come to you. So it's really important, if you want to bring in intentionally, you have to hedge in or bring in, integrate all of you. And that includes your closet, whatever it is you're hiding.
My closet of light.
Right.
Keep that hidden away.
Which is funny, because the next thing I want to talk about was the Love and Light Brigade. Like, would you like to talk about this? It's one of our favorite subjects. It's so prevalent. Everyone wants to spread love and light, which are beautiful things. But how many people do you know that think that if they just love and light, they can positive themselves right out of everything?
That's pretty much the trend.
Yeah, it is a trend, right?
The enlightened circles, that to think positively and to bring your intentions to the front, and to, if you concentrate hard enough, that you can just smooth those shadows on out of the way. You can just spread whipped cream right on top of them, and that those, you won't see those shadows. But the truth is that we're here to talk about is that it's really important to bring those shadow sides to light. It's not enough just to cover them over with love and light. There are some things about us in the shadows that really want to be seen and heard before we can resolve them within ourselves. I'm not saying that that we have to walk around with all of that, but it's the idea of giving voice to pieces of ourselves that want to be heard. I don't know if I'm explaining this correctly, because
I think you're doing a great job.
Yeah. So it's the I don't know. I'm losing my train of thought.
Are you?
Yeah.
Do you want me to pick it up?
Yes.
Pick it up from the caboose. Here we go. Okay. So if you don't like something and you're trying to be so positive to make it go away, so that you're going on like some kind of there was a diet a few years ago, that's a grapefruit diet, where it's like if you want to lose weight, all you eat is grapefruit, and it might work, but it's not good for your body. You're not getting the nutrition you need, and once you're done, it's just gonna go back to normal anyway. So if you go on some love and light pathway, like parade, and you're really gung-ho, and maybe you get everything you want for a while, just like that. Wow, I just lost my train of thought. It just went away. The grapefruit diet. So if you go on the grapefruit diet, you'll get your weight back and then some. And the same with the love and light. If you go so far into only the positive, to the exclusion of anything that even has a tint of negative in your perception, you're kind of going on a grapefruit diet where it's going to catch up with you and then some. And
I like to say that part of us that we try to, a lot of people think that they don't have an ego. A lot of people who've been working really hard with love and light in their life are starting to feel like they've really got their ego under control, and that they don't really have ego anymore. But what they've really done is they've kicked their ego outside, and it's now living feral in the woods outside their house.
Like a wolf.
And it's the whole idea of being able to work with the wolfy aspects of yourself and bring them in to the hearth, bring them into the fire, into the warmth of your heart, and help them learn how to work with you and live with you, instead of kicking them out and pretending that you don't actually have this wild dog part of yourself. Because then what happens is that feral side will show up when you least expect it, or it behaves in ways that you're just not even aware of, but people around you are aware that people around you know, like, there's something off here. And I've known people who've been so convinced that they've been without their ego, that this is a definite problem in their lives. So we're talking about finding that ego side and the light side, the soul self and the body self.
Which, we'll talk more in class 4 about that. It's pretty powerful.
Yes. So that's what I have to say about that.
Love it.
Thank
so
you.
Good. One of the things I do want to talk about that was coming up for me that I feel needs to be addressed, my empathic side was like, but I need to address this, or some sense, I don't know, maybe it's just my brain. It's really hard to know where the information's coming from sometimes. The idea of things you don't want. So we're not saying that if you have a bad habit that you want to get rid of, like, so let's go back to the whole love and light and the shadow. So my closet of inadequacy is not something I want to keep. It's not something that I'm interested in investing my life energy into the continuation of my future. Not interested. Check no. So I'm not saying to take the negative or the feral dog, the feral wolf, whatever it's become, and keep it that way. It's not about it's not about allowing your life to be out of control.
Right.
It's not about holding on to your insecurities or your anger issues or...
And then using those as an excuse for bad behavior.
Right. Like, it's not about, or being a victim, like, oh, I've been a victim once, so it will never stop. It's not about that. Those things may be there too. So what we're trying to do here, this is kind of where we stir the pot. So in the first class, we opened the pot or the umbrella to get you thinking and get you excited. This one's a little grittier, but it's worthwhile because you are a full, complete person and you need to know all of who you are. So this one is to stir the pot, and then tomorrow we're actually going to do, or tomorrow, the next class, well, for us it's tomorrow, is going to be how you slice and dice the old parts of you to break them down, to compost them, in a sense, or alchemize them. Alchemize is kind of a buzzword, so we're going to talk about the alchemical properties of composting. Yay! So, just because you don't like something, we're not saying to hold it. We're saying to notice it, acknowledge it, give it some breathing room, and then deal with it. And I don't mean deal with it like, oh, struggle with it, beat it up, make it go into submission. I mean,
pull it out of the closet, see what you got in there.
Do a closet inventory. Do a freaking closet inventory. If you're not, look what you've actually stuffed under your bed. Look under your mats. Get the dust bunnies you've never gotten out of the corner.
Or if they show up as a surprise, be ready and willing to have a conversation with those pieces.
And if you're not willing, they will show up in your life.
Bigger and stronger,
more
and
creative.
louder.
Yeah.
More people, more things. They will be heard.
They will be heard. They will manifest their way right into your knowledge, right into your obviousness. And if you just spiritually bypass them, like your car breaks down 100 miles from home and you just love and light yourself out of that, you're going to be without transportation.
It's a long walk.
It was a long walk. That did happen to me. That did happen to me.
Did you pray for the community you broke down in? No.
I'll tell you.
You didn't know about that one?
That's a little too secret for this video. I'm like,
okay. Go.
I'll tell you later. The next part I'm so excited about that we're with the notes with this is in class 4. So we open the umbrella. This one's the gritty one. Take a deep breath. And if you're feeling really confronted, if this is just, you just don't know what to do with yourself, don't do anything. Like, just sit. Take a salt bath. If you really need something, drink lots of water. Lemonade is good. Water with lemons. Not lemonade with sugar, but like lemonade from lemons is good. It will help cleanse your system. I just thought of something. Exercise. Exercise is really good for you.
Shake it out.
Shake it out.
Shake it.
Put on your favorite song and dance to it. Whatever process you have for coping, preferably in a positive manner if you feel triggered by some of this. Journal. Journaling's one of my favorites, and it's so underrated. It's something, like one of the benefits of being in a literate society. I can write. And maybe write about some of the things we've talked about. So we've talked about energetic and integrity, acknowledging your gifts and using them, but not trying to save other people with them, because that happens a lot. Not spiritually bypassing, which is, again, Teal Swan's idea, but not using spirituality to avoid the harshness of your life situations. Ignoring circumstances that are unsavory by trying to make them coat them. It's not that you can't reframe it, it's just ignoring. Like, if you ignore the pain will come back to make itself seen. usually amplified.
Mm-hmm.
And there was one other thing. The idea of the wild wolf, like bring in the parts of yourself, and we will go more into that in 4.
Mm-hmm.
So those are the things in this class. So 3, we're gonna do the cooking, the
compost.
Yeah, it's gonna be like a cooking class, except it's for compost. The alchemical properties of composting.
Yes.
But it is applicable to life. Like, we're not actually going to... We will teach you about compost, but it's metaphorical. In case you can't tell, we really like metaphors.
Oh, we do have some actual facts on this as well.
Yeah, you are going to learn about it if you watch the class. And then the 4th one, we're going to talk a little bit more into integrating this with the 3rd class, how it comes together. We're going to talk about body and soul coming together in balancing the two. And then the 5th class, we're going to talk about the field of possibilities, which kind of goes back to, the first class that we did where we talked about what is possible out there. What is possible? Mm-hmm. I hope you thought of some good things that were possible. So now we're going to work on a possibility of healing you to a level that's deeper than you even knew you had. Mm-hmm. Good stuff.
Good stuff.
Yeah, good stuff. So I'm going to go clean my closet.
Woohoo!
Later.
Bye-bye.
Bye.